Hello, friends, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is Monday, March 28th, 2022. I'm Jer Stays, and in the studio to the left of me, Fletcher Sharpe. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, it has been a busy week. We've seen a lot of each other lately.
Yeah, that's we're stepping up over here, so that means we're gonna have a lot more FaceTime.
Now, we were also, 30 feet from Big Ben Wallace yesterday?
Yeah, we got to go to his opening event party for his cannabis strain, undrafted. As you expect, full of some famous people, full of, some executives in the cannabis industry, full of, free stuff to give away. So it was a nice little time getting to see people you might see other places right in front of you.
Let's get into the stories. This first one is a crossover of sports and economic development. The NFL draft is indeed coming to Detroit. That was announced today. It will be for 2024. This is a really big deal from a business perspective. There's more than 40 million viewers across the world, 160,000 fans over 3 days usually. The economic impact can be kind of insane. Now, last year it was only $42 million in Cleveland because of the pandemic. But to give you an idea, 4 years ago, it was $95 million in Philadelphia, $125 million in Dallas, and then that year before the pandemic, down in Nashville, $224 million of economic impact. Now, that includes hotel stays, restaurants, all that kind of thing, and it shows off Detroit as a destination city.
Also, to your point, who really wants to go to Cleveland? Like, kind of what Joakim Noah said. Like, no one's like, I'm going to Cleveland to do something cool. People are always like, did someone die? Or like, are you okay? Like, no one's like, oh, awesome, have fun. Even the superstars who play in Cleveland want to get out of Cleveland. Seeing a downturn economically for Cleveland, even with the pandemic, isn't really a shock because who wants to be there?
For me, I feel like it's going to come in the middle of this range between 95 and 224. I fully admit that, our weather is not going to be as nice as Nashville would be, and that has something to do with it. But I got a strong feeling we're going to outdo Cleveland. I feel like we're going to be kind of in the middle of the pack, though I've heard nothing from the economic forecasters locally. I did a quick sweep, and I haven't gotten any press releases or anything in regards to what their expected impact is. But, overall, good for business in the city.
Definitely. And I mean, and Detroit is getting some stuff down there that's going to allow for people to be walking around more and more areas to kind of sit and do things. And while the weather might not be as nice as Nashville or, a nice Philadelphia day, it'll be nice enough for people to enjoy the outside places being made. So yeah, I think it'll be a nice fit. Again, I don't think it's going to be 200 million or something, but I think it'll be at least double Cleveland. I'll put money on that.
So the details on this is that it's going to be in like the Campus Martius area.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that's going to be kind of cool.
That's like the perfect area to walk around, get a little sandwich from the bistro place, enjoy the views of like being technically, like even realistically in the heart of downtown. One area where you can look around and see everything around you.
Yeah, it'll be great for the theme park. The Vince Lombardi Trophy will be out there. There'll be, music, games, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be quite the party there. I will also mention that we're going to get a mini party this year on Thursday, April 14th to celebrate the awarding of it. I don't have any details on what that's going to entail. It definitely won't be as big because, that's just like a few weeks away. But it's going to be quite the event to showcase downtown Detroit. And with the amount of progress that's been happening in the last few years as far as like on-the-ground amenities, it's only going to be more in 2024.
It's also going to be perfect for the number 1 overall draft pick to get to see his home very early because the Lions will be the worst team in the league. The Jaguars will figure out a way to let the Lions be the most worst team in the league for some reason. So it'll be great that he'll get, his nice fanfare in front of his home fans first overall to understand, like, you're kind of trapped, man.
But the fans do love their team.
Definitely, and that's like the best part is seeing... The best part to me watching from television is seeing the fans embrace the player drafted. To me, kind of the worst part is when a player is drafted and the fans hate it. So hopefully we don't get that scenario because it'll sting doubly worse when you are home.
If that boo is in person, it feels like a whole different kind of L.
That boo's in person at the place where you're going to go now walk to the training center to go practice. Like, that's going to hurt a lot more. So hopefully when the Lions have their first overall pick, because they'll probably finish something like 2-16 or whatever, hopefully they embrace him with open arms and he helps drag that franchise out of the hellhole they're currently in.
Now, in a second piece of sports and media crossover news, the Detroit Lions are going to be on Hard Knocks, which is like a legendary series that football fans love. I bet they looked at Dan Campbell and went, that guy's going to be entertaining on film.
Every few years, there are a certain handful of teams, typically 3 or 4, that the NFL is like, hey, we have a partnership with HBO. Everyone else can say no if they don't want to be on Hard Knocks. If you want to be on it again, you're welcome to. The Cowboys have been on a few times. I know the Raiders have as well. But a select number of teams are like, hey, this is a year where you cannot say no. If Hard Knocks reaches out to us to say we want this team, you have to say yes. And this year the Lions were on that list of teams that had to say yes, and they were selected. And do I think the Lions are going to be good on the field? No. Do I think that they'll be good for TV? Most likely, because to me, Dan Campbell's like the perfect coach for television. He's going to be loud. He's going to be gregarious. He's going to be in your face. He's going to be making all these different metaphors and similes and hand gestures.
And not all of them are going to make sense either.
No, and he's not going to like change anything. So like he's going to keep doing the same thing as they lose like 45-10 in preseason. So like it's going to be perfect because he's going to do it again the following week. Like it's not going to be like, oh, we lost, I got to fix something. It's like, nope, let's talk about biting kneecaps and what. Sure, whatever, man. HBO is going to love it. I personally like watching parts of Hard Knocks is because it allows you to see why certain things happen. Like you might hear, oh, there was a fight in training camp. What happened? If Hard Knocks is at the training camp, you'll get the skinny is what's happening behind there. Oh, this player here, he got cut. What happened? We found out what happened because apparently this one player was sneaking women into the training facility. So like you see the stuff happen as it happens. You see the players talk, and it gives you a chance to like kind of humanize the players. I'm not saying that they're not human, but sometimes people forget underneath the helmet is actually a person because you can't see the face. So Hard Knocks allows for you to see, oh, that's what this guy is. This guy is actually a practicing Muslim who's going through Ramadan during 2-a-days, or this guy is actually someone who was literally bagging groceries a month ago and now he's getting a chance to play football. So like you get to see a little story behind it. So I appreciate those aspects of Hard Knocks because it gives you a total look at the team going forward.
I'm here for the caffeine, Starbucks, whatever supercut of him going to like 50 different Starbucks and just slamming red eyes.
Yeah, they're going to capture his, probably one episode's going to delve into his entire pre-practice routine, and we're going to get to understand exactly why he is as wired as he is.
Do you think being on Hard Knocks is a net benefit or a net negative? I mean, I feel like the teams you mentioned, they're storied franchises that people love regardless of the record.
Depends. If you are like a solid, well-run team, sure. Like it shows how well-run you are. If you are a sloppy, messy team, it shows how sloppy and messy you are. If I'm super certain, if the Jacksonville Jaguars had been on Hard Knocks this past offseason, Urban Meyer would not have been hired for the regular season because they would have seen the stuff that he does on camera and been like, oh, we can't have that. Get this guy out of here. So in a way, it kind of helps illuminate whatever you are. If you are a well-run machine, solid and great, quiet and moving, kind of like a Tesla or like the New England Patriots, you'll be fine. If you're that Pinto that's just driving clouds of smoke, just having to stop every 5 miles because you just can't run anymore, kind of like the Lions, it might not look great for you. So
I think it's hilarious that you said Pinto because you know that's made by Ford.
Sometimes things are kismet.
All right, let's get into Detroit City FC. There is a large stack of things to talk about. First off, a draw over the weekend versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. This is a tale, at least to me, of 2 matches. Like, I think Detroit City FC, I was reading something on the USL site, DCFC got only 1 touch inside the Hounds penalty area in the first half. But that second half was completely different.
And that was mainly because they were playing more of Trevor James's usual style, which is the ball goes sideways before it goes forward. They want to play the little triangles. Sometimes the triangles are more horizontal instead of vertical. And by triangles, I mean when you receive a pass from somebody there's two people in front of you for you to play the ball to someone else. So kind of like basketball, where if the power forward passes the ball out to the point guard, he catches it at the top of the key. He has a shooting guard to his left, a small forward to his right, and maybe another forward in the paint or the center somewhere in there. So he has multiple options to get the ball to somebody or keep it for himself. So Trevor James's triangles he likes to play are typically in the middle of the field, spanning horizontally as opposed to vertically, which means you'll have high possession numbers. All the 3 games they've played, they've won the possession battle by far. Sometimes by taking the ball, sometimes because the other team doesn't really want the ball. Kind of like Pittsburgh was like, we're content to let you dribble sideways all you want to, and when the time comes, we will take it and sprint as fast as we can towards your net. And that's kind of what happened on the first goal. Is they counterattacked, got a nice shot that Nate made a great save on. Ball went out of bounds. Then on the ensuing corner, the ball was deflected up. Instead of it being knocked out, it was knocked, unfortunately, to Riverhounds forward, who tapped it past Nate to give them the 1-0 lead.
I got to say, though, strength on strength, you were pretty correct with that. And we get into that second half, it almost was like a new team out there, even though, they start with the same players. They did some substitutions late in the second, but it felt like a different team in the second half.
I'm sure Trevor was like, hey, go forward. That's really the only difference is like, stop going side to side, go forward. And DCFC realized we're getting pinned back on our wings. Their press, when they press us, is pushing our entire defense back. The way that they set their team up, it's 3 center defenders, 2 wing defenders who kind of operate like midfielders, like they get up the field. But with this version of the team, they've been kind of more flat. I'm not really sure why that is, but whatever. But if they're being pressed and they're being pressed all the way back, you cannot move the ball forward. So the second half, they're like, forget that. We're going to press anyways. We're going to move our wing defenders up, make more pressure into your box. And as a result, Pittsburgh was unable to counter, because if you counter and the pressure's in your face and you make a mistake, you've just opened up a big hole. And there was a handball call that
non-handball.
I understand
really.
why it was not called. Looking at the way the ref was explaining it, I get why it wasn't called. He said that it looked like the ball hit the hand while the person was still within like their body frame, which is a new rule for soccer. It used to be if the ball hits your hand, elbow down, no matter what, even if you're trying to protect your face, try to protect your groin, whatever, handball. They switched the rule to where if your hand is still inside of like your body's like natural position, then it's fine. If you stick your hand out or something, okay, handball. But if it's like, oh, I'm in here, I'm doing something like this,
How recent was that change?
Like a few years ago. So that happened, and it wasn't called. It was unfortunate. And as some people were calling this a makeup call, a few moments later, Brad Dunwell was taken down in the box. Foul looked kind of soft. I would say that it's probably worthy of a penalty kick call, but it looked kind of soft, especially.
To me, it looked like worthy of a PK.
I mean, sure, but like, given that we've seen some much harder fouls that game not called, see that one as kind of like, okay, whatever. But that's not the point. The point is Maxi Rodriguez stepped up, scored his 10th goal for Detroit City FC, going bottom left into the corner, beating the keeper. His 7th goal from the penalty kick spot, which leads me to my next point. That's not good.
That's interesting to go straight to that, although it did get us the tie. We're going to go straight to that's not good.
Goals are good. Like goals, however you score them, off your face, off your butt, off whatever, even an illegal handball goal, goals are goals. But like if majority of your goals are coming from like the penalty spot, it means you're not creating goals. It means that you're just hoping to get calls in the box to convert. And that would worry me if the leading goal scorer for our past 2 years is someone who scored a bunch of penalty kicks. That would make me feel not good, because it means that we are not creating as many chances as we need to create. It means we're not finishing the chances that are created, and we're hoping that a handball happens, or someone gets aggressive in the box and fouls us, or something else happens to where we get a chance to take a penalty kick spot. And they have someone who's very accurate. I think he's only missed one, which he tapped in the rebound. But like, that's not the point. The point is if you're not creating offense, you're hoping someone gives you something. And for Nisa, that would work, because I hate to say this because I have friends in the league, but Nisa's more of like a glorified semi-pro league. Like there are some professional teams, they do pay people, but like the level of play varies from team to team, and the gap between them is like very large. So yeah, you could have a game where we don't need to attack because we'll just get a penalty kick and then we'll just decide to sit back until they decide to give us the ball back. That won't fly with most USL teams. Most USL teams we'll say, fine, you're not going to attack. We're going to keep punching you in the face till something happens. And that's kind of what happened on the goal with Pittsburgh, where they eventually kept counterattacking to the point where DCFC is like, well, now we're pressed up against our own wall. We have to do something. And the do something was unfortunately concede a goal. So Detroit needs to figure out their offensive identity to start creating more chances for them to score, because you won't beat the quality teams. Like, Riverhounds are not a slouch. I'm not going to say that they're like...
Yeah, they're third in the division right now. Or conference, sorry.
But you can't do that against like the Rowdies and expect, okay, we'll just sit back and whatever, because they'll drop 6 goals on you easily. They'll happily do that, and it'll be your fault. I will say, well, probably won't happen at Keyworth, because I can't remember the last time DCFC got blown out at Keyworth, but you'll go on the road and they'll make a party of your defense.
Let's preview what's coming up this weekend. Memphis 901 FC, they're coming off a win against Las Vegas, where they got the first ever, get this, King's Cup, which is apparently some sort of like statue in gold of Elvis Presley. So first off, I love like the niche rivalries like that, but I just wanted to highlight it out that they're coming off of a couple of wins. Maybe that's a little bit of a momentum. Looking at the standings, Memphis 901 is a team that we need to beat to stay in the playoff hunt.
I mean, yeah, it's early in the season, so I'm not necessarily stressed about a playoff hunt right now. But yeah, you want to beat this team because the 2 teams they've beaten weren't necessarily great teams. Oakland is much more of a t-shirt company than they are of a actual soccer team. Great apparel, great, words to stand by off the field, but on the field, they're very much up and down. They beat a Las Vegas Lights team who's definitely like a show team. They 1 week had flamingos at their actual field because it's Las Vegas. Their jerseys are inside out. If you flip them, there's like a little face at the bottom of the jersey, like a winking face. So when you put it over your face, it's like cute. The one time they played against a team that actually wasn't one of those things was Pittsburgh, who punched them in the face 3-0. So this is the type of game where it's like we would like to get this result because this is a team that seems to beat the bad ones and lose to the good ones. We want to get a win here because we want to show that we're a good team and not a bad one. And there'll also be some extra fuel to the fire because their head coach is former DCFC longtime coach Ben Pierman, who left to be an assistant coach for Memphis. And then after their coach was fired, he was promoted to interim head coach, and then he showed that he has the chops to be their head coach, leading him to the playoffs last year. So it'd be nice. Everyone likes to call him Caesar after a mistake he made over broadcast. It's always Hail Caesar. This week, I'm hearing it's supposed to be Fail Caesar. So hopefully they can get the job done against a familiar foe. It's really helpful because they know how his teams tend to play, given that we've all watched them for a long amount of time. So you know they're going to set up. You know typically how they're going to play. Players play differently, obviously, than each other. But typically you know their goal of how they want to move the ball. So it should be helpful there.
What are a couple of keys for Rouge on Saturday?
They got to keep the attacking intensity up. The way they played in the second half should be how they play like going forward. I know that's not always the case because sometimes you play against teams that are way too offensively gifted. You need to like give them more defensive space. But Memphis does not seem to be one of those teams. So if you can, use your wings to get the ball up and down the field. Keep possession in the middle. Keep it 4 straight games where you win the possession battle. And the defense needs to be as good as they've been the past 3 games. With Stephen Carroll, Devin Mumensa, Matty Lewis, and Steinwasser back there, you want to just make sure that they keep it clean in there and don't give them any cheap goals like the last one they scored.
I just want to give people a quick heads up, and we're going to talk about it more later in the week as we get closer to the match. But there is an additional match that isn't on the USL schedule. It is part of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It is against longtime, is it rivals? Really? I don't know. Michigan Stars?
I mean, rivals typically have to have some sort of respect towards each other, and DCFC doesn't think of the Stars at all, and the Stars like hate DCFC. So I guess you could call it a rivalry in that sense, but like I wouldn't, just from the standpoint of there needs to be some sort of mutual respect, and like there isn't any at all. So
well, we'll preview the game more later this week, but to me, it's, this is a year of chapters opening and closing, and just as an outside like person looking in, I feel like this match, at least to me, feels like a chapter closing.
I mean, yeah, it's a very different roster, and we're going to get into breaking down exactly who these people are and what DCFC needs to do to make sure that they win and move forward in the tournament.
Hopefully next week is a little bit warmer. Maybe we get an extra 10 degrees because I don't know. I had all of the hand warmers packed into my jacket.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of people asking if I'm nervous on camera because I'm shaking so hard because it's cold. Like I would like to have a day where it's like just a nice 50-degree day and just, no precipitation of any type, whether it's snow or rain, just 50 degrees, maybe a little bit of wind, some sun, and, some nice ball to watch. That's really it.
Yeah, and it'll be good for the fans, too. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. I appreciate you. I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Fletcher Sharpe.
Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.